Welcome back to SOD TV's Daily Warcraft Logs update video. Today's leaderboard shows some significant movement, so let's dive right into it. Currently leading the pack is the remarkable player Cuties, who is known for their exceptional skills in playing a mage spec arcane. Cuties has impressively maintained the one spot 12 times now, demonstrating consistent and extraordinary gameplay. Hot on Cuties' trail are several other top players who have each held the top spot 9 times. Shaman tank player Nightsong has been a formidable competitor, along with Warlock tank player Ignigemzex. Warrior Fury player GAQIGEGE and Hunter melee player Tree Ranger have also been displaying exceptional gameplay, each securing the top spot 9 times. In the balanced Druid category, Innate from Crusader Strike US maintains his reign at the top of the leaderboard for the third day, boasting a DPS of 1051.2. In second place, we have Blezurus from Crusader Strike US with a DPS of 1026.5. Rounding out our top 3 is Adriu, holding steady with a DPS of 1012.6. The remaining top 10 for today are Shay, Bobaloo, Honeycow, Stickman, Zimp, Garlic Soap, and Sulex. The leaderboard is sizzling with competition. In the Feral Druid category, Parsepolis from Silver Saga Continues has taken the top spot with a DPS of 1466.8, overtaking BGTD from B-Tribe, who held the position for 2 days, and now sits at second place with a DPS of 1453.6. Lawsuit from Silver Saga Continues rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1436.2. The remaining top 10 players for today are Africantiger, Cyril, Swagdonald, Caddy Peace, Loclaws, Kates, and QI Wong Jing QI. In the Guardian Druid leaderboard, NMX from Lone Wolf US remains undefeated at the top for the 4th consecutive day, with an impressive DPS of 848.2. In second place, we have Kiljarapuli from Living Flame EU with a DPS of 831.1, and Minates from the same server is still holding strong in third place with a DPS of 811.0. Let's not forget the rest of the top 10 Ankler, Pumpix, Kadedi, Suduoptit Jini, Optimalgao, and DLI Buhuwain D. In the Melee Hunter category, Tree Ranger from Living Flame US maintains his reign for the 5th consecutive day, boasting a DPS of 1556.9. Algi from Living Flame EU holds steady at second with a DPS of 1514.9, while Johnnysons from Lone Wolf EU secures third place again with a DPS of 1507.9. The rest of today's top 10 are Resorth, Yang Lachichi, Zatara, Cornshot, Minieros, Waffle Freeze, and Tenacute. In the Ranged Hunters category, Bumrush from Crusader Strike US has taken the lead with a DPS of 1336.0. Kia Sai Di from Gulang TW follows closely at 2 with a DPS of 1327.8. Yesterday's leader, Floraberries from Lone Wolf US, has dropped to 3, maintaining a DPS of 1324.4 after holding the top spot for 3 days. The rest of the top 10 are Disio, Skinay, Zooks, Multigummies, Tubster, Ruru, and Raikuli. Cuties from Living Flame EU holds the 1 spot for the 6th day for Arcane Mages, delivering a DPS of 631.4. Muju from Gulang TW remains in second place with a DPS of 613.9. Rounding out the top 3 is Mage from Lone Wolf EU with a DPS of 568.9. A quick shout out to the rest of today's top 10: Mwaxo, Digidoo, Greats, Kusen, Kobito, Jessa, and All Mike Elf. In the Fire Mage category, we have a new leader, Kia Ju Jie from Yaxingquan UTW, topping the leaderboard with a DPS of 1177.8. Duchanam from Crusader Strike US maintains his second position with a DPS of 1138.0, holding strong for 2 days now. Magisula from Living Flame EU remains in the 3rd spot with a DPS of 1121.4. A special shout out to the rest of our top 10 Maltazar, Jai Lizi, Eros, Dabustu, Lanson, Jiaofu Wang Sanpao, and Arcane Terror. In the Frost Mage leaderboard, Watch Tome from Lone Wolf EU continues to dominate, holding the top spot for the 3rd day in a row with an impressive DPS of 1039.4. Triepo, also from Lone Wolf EU, has climbed to second place with a DPS of 982.8. And Satika, yet another player from Lone Wolf EU, rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 970.7. The remaining top 10 players for today are Fake Casting, Kong, Tekkel, Trillin, Linshi, Balasto, and Jaialpha, and Chi Alpha. In the Protection Paladin category, He Ir Mei I Sai from Shangming Lai Yan TW in the guild Chuan Chang holds the top spot for the second day, with an impressive DPS of 1,237.7. Vote, also from Shangming Lai Yan TW in the guild Chuan Chang, has increased his DPS to 1,163.1, securing the second place. Farvold from Living Flame EU in the guild Skyline remains steady at third with a DPS of 1,125.0. The rest of today's top 10 are in Ming, One Punch, Gonf, Rubisco, Lilac Knight, Autism, and Type Woman. In the Retribution Paladin leaderboard, Pettery from Wild Growth EU Guild Dragonslayers holds the top spot for the second day, running with a DPS of 1,372.8. Tyrion Poldering from Godoan Nogday KR Guild Ilrinijib leaps to second place with a DPS of 1,336.7. Akanos from Crusader Strike US Guild Discovery Monkeys slips to third with a DPS of 1,331.9. A quick shout out to the rest of today's top 10 Hinjiao Di Diezhuhua, Jinix, Gao Da, Kuiyu, Muse, Chobo, and Gypsarella. In the DPS Rogue category, Zhu Shui Dai from Shangming Laiyan TW in the guild Chuan Chang takes the top spot with a DPS of 1,498.6. Karina from Godovan Nugde KR in the guild Rundikyo is hot on their heels at second place with a DPS of 1,493.1. Yesterday's champion, Tiriella from Living Flame EU in the guild Cheers, holds on a third place with a DPS of 1,458.7. The rest of the top 10 are Naranangai, Dondikomen, Oneav, Zhuki Lebingju, Reminder, Qingyiju, and Brodoswagon. In the Tank Rogues category, Nerf Assassin from Gulang TW in the Nerf Shadow Club Guild continues to dominate with a DPS of 1,096.4, holding the top spot for 2 consecutive days. Sketcher from Crusader Strike US in the Wii. The APS Guild is still in second place with a DPS of 972.2, and Dean P from Wild Growth EU in the Old Guard Guild remains in third with a DPS of 964.5. The remaining top 10 are Hakwin, Lit, Zhengji Zhengke, Undertale, Royak, Sammy, and McKidney. In the Elemental Shaman category, Hexmuther from Lone Wolf US in the guild Hunks retains the crown with a DPS of 970.3, marking his second day at the top. Hot on his heels is Relix from Lone Wolf EU in the guild Ego, with a DPS of 968.8. Roxarone from Living Flame EU remains in third place, boasting a DPS of 968.6. Rounding out the top 10 are Mortytide, Bangog Dongsum Jamiog, Fei Yi Diansei, Bread Gloves, Gog, Rumbles, and Nian Wu Sinju. In the Enhancement Shaman category, Iopetsham from Lone Wolf US in Strictly Business continues to dominate at 1 for the fourth day, maintaining a DPS of 1,550.6. Zobe from Living Flame EU in Link Logs holds steady at second place with a DPS of 1,514.6. NA from Living Flame EU in Dendansky Meadow keeps his third spot with a DPS of 1,492.6. Rounding out our top 10 are Cryptenhance, Chad Hansen Tet, Fakeban, Boziter Ervienage, 10P Sinug, and BDD. In the Tank Shaman category, Night Song from Living Flame EU holds strong as the one for the 7th day in a row, boasting a DPS of 1,147.5. Ibo, also from Living Flame EU, remains steady at 2 with a DPS of 840.6. Walks, another Living Flame EU player, keeps his 3 spot with a DPS of 786.0. The rest of the top 10 are Salt, Goat Shaka, Jose Mauricio, Vistalo, Emilstable, Hooks, and Thunderblade. Today, Taco from Shadowstrike AU has reclaimed the top spot of DPS Warlocks with a DPS of 1,203.6, after losing it to Zhang Gudong from Shangming Laiyan TW yesterday, who now sits at second place with a DPS of 1,139.6. Pants from Lone Wolf US maintains his third position with a DPS of 1,130.3. Taco's return to the top after a day's gap is a notable achievement. The rest of the top 10 are Dogslayer, Crowley, Strawberry, Pantslock, Arok, D-Trace, and Matri. In the Tank Warlock category, Enigms XX from Living Flame EU Guild Pepident holds the top spot for the 7th day, with a DPS of 1,045.0. Barot from Lone Wolf US Guild Lethal Company is still in second place, delivering a DPS of 972.9. Kyrek Meta from Crusader Strike US remains in third, with a DPS of 952.6, The remaining top 10 are John Randomdo, Havoc, H&D, Dinosaur, Ezo, Stone, and Bryson. Finally, in the Fury Warrior category, Mob Bio from Godogan no DKR in the guild Ild Il Renijib surges to the top with a DPS of 1,658.9. Jia Kiegi from Gulang TW, who held the top spot for 4 consecutive days, is now in second place with a DPS of 1,626.1. Subtamia from Living Flame EU in the guild Pepident retains his third position with a DPS of 1,615.9. The remaining top 10 are Chaya, ZSPBU, Alando, Twerky, QIZ Zijan, Kiezi and Atasmos. Keep those DPS numbers rising, warriors. Stay tuned for more updates. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video to see who will reign supreme this phase. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more daily content like this. Thank you all for watching.